Daniel?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So as everyone has seen the agenda today, I want to just start off by saying thank you to everyone for making the time. I know it's 30 minutes is a lot of time to take from your days, but I think this will be a beneficial session. By way of just getting a sense from everyone, would love to allow everyone to just put in the chat where you're calling in from. Are you calling in from South Africa, UK, United States, Botswana, just to get everyone's background. So just type in the chat for a moment here. Daniel, do you see the locations? Where's everyone calling in from?
Yeah, from South Africa, from Tanzania,
Awesome. Awesome.
Mauritius, Johannesburg, South Africa, Durban, South Africa.
Amazing.
A couple more from Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya.
Awesome.
Kenya,
Awesome.
Kenya. Wow.
That's amazing. I love that. Love that. Alrighty. Well, that's fantastic that everyone's coming in from all over. So again, thank you. Danielle, I'll let you cover the agenda and kick us off, and we'll dive right in.
Perfect. Yeah, again, thank you for being here. We have, 25 minutes and we are very much excited. It's the first of its kind looking at tour operations in Africa, specifically geared towards safaris. And we wanted to co-create this agenda, Trail Consult and myself, because it's important that we bring you something that is relevant. So with that being said, today's agenda, we'll do a quick introductions to ourselves from Salesforce and Trail Consult, and then we'll give you a high-level overview of, the key safari industry trends we've seen and how AI is changing that dialogue. And then I will hand over to Trail Consult, who will give you an industry point of view, as they have worked with numerous safari operations companies, especially in East Africa, and give you a live demonstration of how that could look like in your business. And then we would head into a quick questions and answers and next steps, how you can work more closely with Trail Consult and myself.
Amazing.
So with that being said, I'm Danielle Kruger. I think by the surname, you would probably conclude that I am South African. Based in Dublin, but South African. I've been at Salesforce for 3 years, and I'm leading travel, tourism, and hospitality for all English-speaking Africa. So very excited to see so many different countries here and eager to understand what we're doing in the space.
Amazing. And I'll go ahead and I'll introduce myself. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you all. My name is Luzi Bukete, and I'm a partner at Trail Consult and a principal architect. The reason I'm here today, my background, I'm originally from Botswana, but I live in Toronto. And for context, I started my career in consulting. So I started at University of British Columbia, studied computer science and business there, worked at Deloitte in Canada, supporting large and medium-sized enterprises implementing Salesforce. Also worked at a company called Traction on Demand, which was acquired by Salesforce, and was at Salesforce as a solution engineer, supporting customers in the hospitality segment out in North America for 3 years. And that's why I'm here today. A bit about Trail Consult. We are a global consulting firm specialized in Salesforce implementation and specifically within hospitality industry. We've been around for a while, but most importantly, we do have a very deep industry perspective. Our offices are in Toronto and in Ghana and Nigeria, so we're able to support the entire Africa, and that's largely why we started Trail Consult. And I'll hand it over to my counterpart here, Kelly, to also do an introduction.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'll keep this very short. Lidzi and I as solutions engineers at Salesforce. I left Salesforce last year to join Trail Consult as our sales director. I was with the company for 7 years, and I held a few very interesting roles. I was an account executive like Danielle. I moved into the solutions engineering role where I was really focused on which of our products matched best with our customers' challenges and business objectives. And then I moved into leadership where I was supporting a team of account executives like Danielle, and just selling into specifically your industries and talking with businesses like yourselves about how Salesforce and which of Salesforce's large breadth of products actually make sense for your business. So very, very excited to be speaking with you guys today.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'll allow Danielle to start us off with the market insights.
Amazing. Thanks for that. So next slide, please. So with that being said, World Travel Market happened in Cape Town in April, and there was numerous insights that were very much geared towards Africa, how tourism is changing, what are the key growth factors there. With that being top of mind, it was interesting to note in 2024, Africa's tourist sector hits 140 billion in terms of revenues, with over 80 million international arrivals. But what was more interesting, we normally see a lot of tourism coming from the likes of Europe, UK, America, but other emerging markets such as Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America are driving demand now. And a lot of travelers, with the end of COVID, with AI being top of mind and being integrated in, honestly, I think in everyone's day-to-day, travelers are looking for more immersive, sustainable, and deeply personalized experiences. So for safari and tourism operators, there is a huge mindset shift. And today's guests expect more than just a booking. They expecting curated journeys. From that first inquiry to a post-trip follow-up, AI is changing that game. And it's helping teams personalize every interaction, automate repetitive tasks. Let's see back a slide. Repetitive tasks and scale during the busy seasons without hiring more staff. And it gives operators smarter ways to source high intent leads directly, cutting the cost of acquisition and dependency on third-party platforms. In short, AI isn't replacing the human touch, it's elevating it. And the operators who harness it will lead the next generation of African tourism. Next slide. Perfect. So on that note, I wanted to walk you through my own experience. So for context, I'm in my late 20s. I'm a woman. I'm from South Africa, and I live in Ireland. I work a pretty intense job, and I have around 3 weeks of holiday per year. And, when I was doing my New Year's resolutions, I, really wanted to hike Kilimanjaro. With that being said, I started doing my research in December, January on different operator providers that I could potentially partake and do a trip with. So this was the customer experience I had. First of all, I logged onto their website after, I saw on YouTube and other sources that they could be recommended. There was no contact me form. There was no help assistance at the bottom. I had to physically go to my email and send an email. And there was 3 or 4 different companies I tried with. After 2-3 days, finally, I got a response from a company. I'm like, please, can I be your client? This was the response I got from them. So I made the inquiry that I'm already pre-planning that I want to go Christmas 2025. And I'm looking at options, pricing, expectations. That's pretty standard. Like often you'll have repetitive questions that come through. What happens next is the reply I get from in red was that hello, Danielle. So my name is spelled incorrectly. I'm already not feeling like that one-to-one connections there. And then again, it was very much, here's a 6-day, here is a 7-day trip. And this is the cost difference. It doesn't give me expectations on different altitude differences, how it would be impacted, how maybe my fitness level needs to be. Nothing there is stated. Next, let's see. So then I reply that I'm looking for 7 days. Back end, I've done my research that I need 7 days because I'm not that fit. And I require the KPAP certification, which is for ethics, knowing that all staff is ethically paid. With that being said, the next response to my answer or my questions, again, a different version of Danielle, not my name. And then they say I can check their itinerary. And I had a reply, hey, by the way, there was no itinerary attached. Please, can I have an itinerary? I would love to see your options. Next one, let's see. And here they sent me the requirements or their itinerary, and I did not continue assessing this company. They lost a high intent lead that came to their website, who did the effort to email them, but because of a poor customer experience, they lost me. So with that being said, I'm going to hand over to Trail Consult to showcase how through Salesforce you're able to solve this piece of the journey, which would completely change the game from lead to acquisition to post-acquisition follow-ups.
Yeah, and I'm sure this experience is something that you all may have experienced yourselves, or even I hope this is shedding some light into, if you have this type of experience, the impact that it's having to your business. And I'll allow Kelly to share a bit more about our perspective of where we see Safari operators capturing value by tying AI as well as Salesforce together. So Kelly, go ahead.
Thanks, Litzy. So as our sales director here, I'm primarily speaking with our customers day in and day out about what is the impact of the challenges that they're facing. And if we do adopt technology like Salesforce, what does that return on investment look like for me? So the three main challenges that I'm hearing from customers like yourself in this industry, it can be bucketed into three main business objectives. The first is, how can I make my service team more efficient? So for many Safari operators, customer inquiries can quickly pile up, many of which are very repetitive questions. You know, what's included in my tour? What is it in a 7-day inquiry? Can I bring the kids? But by utilizing agents, we can actually show you how we've been able to automate a lot of FAQ responses, cutting down on repetitive inquiries and freeing up your internal service agents for more complex customer issues, and to be able to reach out to high intent leads like Danielle. This is going to reduce their workload, lower their average handle time, and ultimately increase their productivity. Second, let's talk about revenue. Now, as we've learned, and just like with Danielle's example there, we want to be able to capture and convert our high intent leads. And if we're getting a lot of inquiries on a website, it could be difficult to sift through that. So as Danielle showed, long response time or poor responses will ultimately cost you money because you're losing potential leads. So we'll show you today how Salesforce can ensure how every potential booking inquiry is logged, routed correctly, and this will just help you and your team eliminate any lost opportunities. It reduces your cost to acquire leads, accelerates your response time, and ultimately will help your team cross-sell and upsell based off of initial inquiries. Lastly, how can we provide the best customer service possible? The guest experience is what defines your brand and sets you apart from your competitors. And if we're able to use generative AI in the right way, well, then we can help you provide faster, accurate responses to leads and returning customers. And for many travelers like myself, I want to get information as soon as possible and feel confident that I've booked with a company that cares about me and my experience. To be honest, if there's no chat on a website, I'm probably already ready to move on and check somewhere else. But with utilizing agents, as we're going to show you, we can increase self-service and ultimately improve your guest satisfaction, which will then lead to an increase in your CSAT and your NPS scores. So I'll hand it over to Litzy. Let's just jump right into this demo because I know this is what everyone wants to see.
Yeah, and with not much anticipation, I'm curious in the channel here in the chat, are there, between team productivity, revenue, and elevating the guest experience, if anyone can just type in the chat, what objective here is most impactful for your organization. So I just want to, everyone just type in, if there's one thing that you're trying to solve for this fiscal year, what would that be? And think about it as we're going through this demo. So what I'm going to walk through is a connected experience. So you can imagine what Danielle had shared in terms of what her experiences has been just going through the booking process. So we'll look at what that guest experience looks like, and we'll also shed some color as to what could that look like for your internal Safari operation. So as Kelly was mentioning, how do you ensure that your operators and your booking teams are doing more with less so that they can focus on enhancing that guest experience? And we'll look at how post-journey, the capabilities that are available to you to really curate that personalized communication, both pre and post-trip. So you'll meet Julia. So Julia is very similar to Danielle in the sense that she's based out of, she's young, based out of New York, just made partner, and is planning her dream safari tour. And what's the first thing that she'll do? She'll go and she'll search a number of sites. Before, your site might not be here, but with the integration of the capabilities of your paid ads, as well as the marketing capabilities that are available within Salesforce, you can see that that sponsored ad is at the top of that search result. Now, what Danielle will do, what Julia will do is then click into the actual website. So this is an example of a site, and what I'd like to focus your attention on is specifically this widget here. So this is that chat capability that we were talking about. Being able to open up this chat capability and have a generative agent work with you to make that personalized experience. So I'll ask a very simple question. Are safaris safe? And what this agent is doing is not just looking at the general web information, it's also looking at your internal FAQ documentation. So instead of going and clicking between multiple sites, it's actually being able to pull your specific information to curate that experience. And what I'll do here is I'll actually provide more specific information that I think is relevant for me. So I'm going to ask, I am from the US.
One thing I'll also point out is you'll notice that the responses are very conversational. So one of the main things that Salesforce has been able to do with agents is that we can make this very empathetic, very much like a real person that we're speaking to, opposed to feeling like I'm just talking to a computer.
Exactly. And you'll see here, that experience being adjusted. I'm trying to find out what the visa requirements are for South Africa. So all this educational, Daniel had an example of FAPA requirements and certifications. All that information can be self-served to the customer. In this example, I can actually see what the requirements are for my visa application. So I'm having all this curated before I even talk to an agent, an actual Safari operator. And I'm going to actually end this with just getting a itinerary built out. So,
Lucy, can you also make this a little bigger when you have a chance? Thank you. This inquiry build is one of the most fascinating things that I've personally seen from agents. To be able to train an agent to streamline such complex tasks, such as creating a 3-day, a 5-day, or a 7-day inquiry, that gives me as a customer so much leverage to then, when I'm speaking with somebody on your team, know exactly what I want, know exactly what you're offering, and also for your team to look at these inquiries and know exactly how you should handle the conversation with me.
So you can imagine the time that's spent working with a prospective guest and curating that journey. All this information is already at your fingertips in terms of the intention, the type of experience they want. And if you'd like to refine this and you only provide tours in select countries, you can also refine that so that you're only recommending the excursions or the trips that are specific to your operation. And this can be easily handed off to your service team or your sales team that's going to handle the actual booking. So what I'll do is I'll hop back here and transition into our friend Max's view, right? So what Max is now getting is a curated set of inquiries that have been prioritized that he can then respond to. And he's not just responding with general information. He already has that historical context of what conversations this guest has had with our agent to nurture them. And post-trip, you can see Max is happy. He doesn't have to be shifting through spreadsheets anymore. He's really focusing on elevating the guest experience. And for a guest, that experience then relates and turns back to them wanting to come back, refer this specific tour to their network. And post-trip or even pre-arrival, you can have those personalized journeys sent out. So whether it's a reminder for a customer to make their final deposit for finance so that finance doesn't have to follow up intently about a payment, that's all being curated. And these journeys, what we've seen, really support not just in the pre-acquisition, but also during the trip and post-acquisition. So you can actually start to see the value here being more personalized experiences for your clients. The one thing that I do want to leave you all with and really to think about is this is just an example. We have our teams and customers that are thinking about, how do I leverage these agents to send my confirmation booking? How do I leverage these agents to help me in my actual guest experience as a concierge? So you can really leverage this across the entire Safari value chain in multiple places. So I want to leave that with you all to imagine what the future of Safari operations could look like for your business and think about the value that you can create, going back to what we talked about in terms of the value drivers, driving more leads, a more personalized experience, having time giving back to your internal teams, as well as elevating that guest experience. Now, that's really, gets us to the end of our perspective and our point of view. We would really encourage you all to reach out if you'd like to connect further. We will also take, maybe one or two questions with the 3 minutes that we have here. But as a next step, please feel free to book a complimentary digital health assessment in May, and we've been able to partner with Salesforce, so where you'll be able to receive a time-bound discount. But I'll take any questions here before we close off and let everyone continue with their days. Are there any questions in the chat? Yeah.
I'll also just double click on what that health check looks like, team. Anyone who does book a meeting with us as a follow-up, we will basically take the time together to understand your current business processes, what some of the goals are that you are specifically looking at, and then we will help you discuss what that vision could be, some of the things that you can do, some of the things that you're probably currently doing, and we're able to really give you kind of the lay of the land of what could work specifically for your business. And that is something that we are providing as a free or a complimentary service alongside Salesforce. So we encourage everybody on this call to reach out to Danielle and book that time with us this month.
Yeah, I think we have 1 minute, so we have one question. I'm just looking here. There's a question here that, is there any supporting data about engagement use of the chat function? 100%. So most of our customers actually use that to also justify the value of their investment. So being able to understand what the attribution is, what's the conversion between the guests or prospects that have engaged with that chat, and what percentage of those actually turn into guests that have booked and paid for an excursion. So that type of reporting and attribution is available for you 100%. Daniel, maybe I'll leave it to you to maybe say the final
Let's
words.
see, maybe if you want to answer one or two more of the questions.
Okay, yeah.
There's some really great questions and it's top of mind. Of course, if you need to head out so long, please do. But this is what we would like to be able to provide you with.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have more time. Yeah, so I think there's another one. Can the AI app integrate into a CRM application? So 100%. So we have a lot of customers that actually use these agents for their internal teams, right? So their internal teams being, I want my booking team to be able to go and connect to a reservation platform, or I want my booking team to be able to summarize the itinerary for a customer. So all those types of actions can also not just be used for your customer facing to manage that experience, but also internally to drive more productivity. And if you have a proprietary system or your specific website, that chat icon that we showed can be embedded directly into whatever platform makes sense for your business as well. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't know if Danielle or Kelly, there's any question here that you see, but I think there's one here. There's
For the CRM
CRM.
parts, does it integrate with Google Workspace?
Yes. So one of the things that we see our customers doing is I might want to book a meeting, or I want to be able to see all the communications that I've had with this specific guest. So you're able to leverage your Salesforce capability integrated with Google to try and to basically have that historical view. There's also very exciting news as of, I think, last month. Salesforce has signed a definitive agreement and partnership with Google Gemini. So the AI capabilities that you see within the Google Workspace and within Salesforce are coming closer together. So that's very exciting in terms of the product roadmap. The reason I bring that up is you should also think about this platform. It is a future-proof platform. So a lot of these types of capabilities are within, if not available today, but also as part of the roadmap. So be sure that you're investing in a platform that is going to continue to innovate and continue to provide you that value.
Perfect. On that note, I just want to say thank you once again for being here. I know we only released invitations last week, but having, over, I think it was 82 participants, it just is testament to how much the industry is changing. And from Lutzi, Kelly, myself, we're there to be there alongside you in this change. AI is top of mind, and Salesforce as a platform, we keep on innovating, changing, and growing. I know we have some customers here from Salesforce, and we want to ensure that we do make your business future-proof as well as be a leader in the industry as you go forward. So again, thank you, Cedric. We'll make contact with you on our end and set up time. We're happy just to even run through a digital health check, see where you're at, find use cases, and build with you. On that note, thank you and have a beautiful day.
Thank you all. Bye for now. Stop the recording.
Hasim has got his hand up and Vicky.